What's going on, guys? Zuko back with another Dragonflight video. I hope you are all doing amazing. I want to give some clarifications to the Gamba build that I talked about in my last video, two videos ago. I don't know, about the Gamba build, which is primarily the physical plus storm build that's kind of going on here, right? It's all about gambling with deep root elements. I want to make some clarifications because I said a couple things in the video that weren't the best advice to give you guys. One of them wasn't the best advice. The other one I really want to clarify. So I had a comment in by Hand Cannon, I believe, who was commenting. We kind of went back and forth quite a bit on the YouTube comments, and it got a little heated or whatever, but it's just the way it goes sometimes. No hard feelings. One thing Hand Cannon brought up that I think was a good thing I need to clarify was that in my Gamba video, I talked about mastery being a bad stat for this build, and I just want to clarify what I mean by that. Getting mastery for this build is never a bad thing, okay? Because your damage, a lot of your damage ends up being chain lightning, lightning bolt, crash lightning. That's a ton of your damage right there, right? That's like 47%, 37%, almost 40% of your damage being lightning there, and then crash lightning is going to add even more, right? So, you know, your mastery increases your fire, frost, and nature damage, so lightning damage, right? So that makes mastery a good stat. It is a good stat to get with this build. It's not bad, and I think in the previous video, or in the comments at least, I had said that it's not a good stat to have in this build. So I'm going to reverse that, and I'm going to say that, you know, I think mastery is fine for this build. What I want to say, though, is that you don't need to chase down mastery, and I think you should actually get, again, that baseline of haste. So something like 25 to 30% haste. I'm at 28 right here, okay? You're going to want that, and then I think you should go for crit still. Crit is a very good stat for this build because crit buffs all your damage. If you're Chain Lightning crits, it does more damage. If you're Wind Fury, which is physical, crits, it does more damage. If you're Storm Strike crits, it does more damage. Crit is good for everything, and the reason that that's important with this build is because a lot of our damage ends up being physical damage. Wind Fury, 11.4% physical. Okay, Storm Strike, 6.4% physical. Spirit Wolf, this is the Alpha Wolf proc. That's physical. Sundering is actually a physical ability. It's Flame Strike damage, okay? Our melees from our Spirit Wolves, those are physical. My melees are physical, okay? Wind Strike is physical. Wind Strike offhand is physical. If you add all of those things up in just this one dungeon that I did, this was I don't know, I forget what this was, but over the course of this entire dungeon, 37% of my damage ends up being physical. That's me adding up all those numbers for you. Okay? That's a lot. 37% of your damage is physical. Mastery does not help you with physical damage at all, right? Let me get rid of this one. Mastery increases your fire, frost, and nature damage, not your physical damage. So, it's actually very important to get crit, because crit will buff your physical damage and your elemental damage. So, is mastery a bad stat for this build? No, not at all. Mastery will increase your damage, and if your gear, if you're hard stuck with like 25% haste, and then you have like all mastery after that, that's going to be fine, but it's not the most optimal, I think, that you could be for this build. That's all I'm trying to say, okay? So I want to thank Hand Cannon for the comment. He got a little too heated about it, but his comment is fine. Mastery is not bad. I just still think you should pursue crit, because crit covers all the damage types, okay? Excuse me. The second thing I want to say was another comment by Yordaris in the comments. I took Lava Lash in my initial build here. It's very bad to take Lava Lash here. Don't do this. He said you should take Ice Strike instead. Absolutely right. You should take Ice Strike. The reason is because the way Wind Fury works. Wind Fury says it imbues your main hand weapon. Each main hand attack has a chance to trigger Wind Fury. Ice Strike is a main hand attack. Lava Lash is an offhand attack. Charges your offhand weapon with lava. So Lava Lash cannot trigger Wind Fury because it's not a main hand attack. So whereas Ice Strike can, and then you can also take Swirling Maelstrom, which makes Ice Strike guarantee to give you a Maelstrom weapon stack, which is huge for this build. You're always trying to get as many Maelstrom weapon stacks as possible. Sorry, I had this for the raid. You're always trying to get as many Maelstrom weapon stacks as possible, so you can use a spender, so you can trigger Legacy of the Frost Witch to get you Storm Strike back, so you can do that whole cycle, right? So take Ice Strike and take Swirling Maelstrom. Do not take Lava Lash. Very important there. Now, I also want to cover the single target damage of this build which is something I haven't covered yet. And I got to do the entire raid last night on Heroic, and we blew through it all, which was really good. Here's Taros. This is a pure single target fight, right? Taros has no ads whatsoever. This is pure single target. We did 85.5k overall. With this Gamba build, I took out Alpha Wolf, and instead I just put a second point into Elemental Assault, again, to guarantee that I'm generating extra stacks of Maelstrom Weapon. You could get a little bit of extra damage from Alpha Wolf, but you don't need to. Your dogs are still going to be physical dogs. Alpha Wolf just gives it an extra damage proc. So we have physical dogs, 1 point in Legacy, 2 points in Elemental Assault. I could have put 2 points in Legacy. That might have been better, but I think the extra point in Elemental Assault is better because it is a guaranteed chance to give you that Maelstrom weapon stack, right? And then Ice Strike's giving you that other guaranteed one. So very important buttons to be pressing during the fight. I'm really sorry I don't have footage for you. I did it all off stream, so I don't have any footage of the dungeon or of the raid. But here's what we did in the raid. This was on Taros, as I said. Lightning Bolt is our huge top damage. We had a couple Lightning Bolts that did 211k. 211k damage, and I pressed it 50 times. Crazy. Wind Fury, Storm Strike, doing 12 points, almost 13%. Melees from our Spirit Wolves, really big. There's the rest of it right there. So this was the Gamba build in action on a Taros boss fight. And it was really good. Like, it was really good. The damage was exceptional. 85.5k is really good right now. Very happy with that single target damage. And I didn't change anything in the build except for Alpha Wolf. Everything else is the exact same. So, again, you know, there's probably some other stuff you could change to go pure. So I didn't even get rid of Crashing Storms because we were just flying through the raid. I didn't have time to, like, sit down and assess my talents. So you could modify this tree even more. You could probably get rid of Crashing Storms and maybe take Feral Lunge. That would be a way to get back into the fight, into melee. Very good. I don't mind, actually. Crash Lightning damage going up by 40% is actually fine. Not the best thing, really, but it's not awful. Crash Lightning's pretty low, so only 0.7%. Is that all the Crash Lightning damage? Yeah, because we never had 2 targets. So there you go. That's probably a good talent to change. You could get rid of Crashing Storms, put it into Feral Lunge, or even put it into Converging Storms if you want to. That would make your Storm Strike damage better. Put it into anything else, realistically speaking. But I didn't even have time to do that because we were running through the raid so quickly. So there's still ways you could probably optimize this. But just so you know, this thing pumped damage. 85.5k on Taros. It was great. We did other single target fights. Senarth wasn't super good. We were still 64k on Senarth, a little bit behind everybody there. But Kurog, we were just in 4th place there, 76, just behind the Shadow Priest. So a little bit low there. Razagath, how are we doing Razagath? We were 4th on Razagath. Really close to everybody here. Basically tied with the Rep Paladin, and then we're basically tied for 3rd almost. Right there. So you can see the damage is pretty good. Aranog was bad. I wasn't set up and ready to go for Aranog, so we're not going to look at that. But this is pure single target on Taros. Very strong damage for the Gamba build. You can run it just like this. Maybe swap out Crashing Storms for Converging Storms or something else like that. Maybe even do Primordial Wave. That wouldn't be a bad idea either because it gives you an extra Lightning Bolt that does extra damage. You could do that as well, okay? That's all I wanted to talk about. I wanted a couple clarifications on the Gamba build, and I wanted to show you the Gamba build single target damage. I'm telling you guys, this build is nuts right now. It's going to be very good, I think, going into next week, which is when the raid's dropping. The new Mythic Plus season is happening. Guys, this build is going to work for you. If you're kind of sick and tired of the fire builds, if you're sick and tired of doing the hailstorm stuff, this build will work for you. It's very fun, and it does lots of damage. Okay? Thank you guys so much again for watching. I love you all. Stay, spicy in those comments. Be nice, okay? Be nice in those comments and keep them coming, all right? I love you all. I'll see you in the next one.